USA band. And every time we pull up, all you're gonna see is American flags. American flags. American flags. And every time we pull up, all you're gonna see is American.
So what's going on, Patriots? Eddie here, Maurice here, and we got a show for you guys tonight. We got our buddy on here, Jerone Davison.
What's up, everybody?
We are going to be joined here shortly by Michaela Montgomery, as promised. But while we're waiting for Michaela, first of all, I want to, for those of you who don't know, I know a lot of people have. We got a pretty loyal fan base at this point. And so most of these guys know exactly who Jerone is. But for those of you who don't know, I want to start off the show by playing his ad. It's my favorite ad out of any political campaign ever. And here it is.
Democrats like to say that no one needs an AR-15 for self-defense. That no one could possibly need all 30 rounds. But when this rifle is the only thing standing between your family and a dozen angry Democrats in Klan hoods, you just might need that semi-automatic and all 30 rounds.
Look at that man. Look at that man. What's up, Jerone?
And that is all 30 rounds. Woo!
That is far none the best political ad I have ever seen in my life.
That thing got a lot of play. Everybody, you can find it on my Twitter account, Jerone Davison for Congress. Go there. It's pinned to my page. So as soon as you get there, you can see it and share it. That thing woke up the black community like nothing else. I saw so many young black YouTubers actually talking about this. And some of them actually thought that the Republicans were the ones behind the KKK. I mean, and that's because, in our black families, a lot of black families, we don't repeat the history. We're just repeating the narrative of CNN and MSNBC, what they call that, the miscommunication or the mistruth or whatever they call it.
And it's not just in the black community. That is in the culture of those inner city places. I grew up in Baltimore City. We were told the same thing. The Democrats are the party of the people, the working man. They're for the poor. Yeah, they're for keeping you poor.
Right.
Therefore,
if I get to Congress, I'm going to be working. If I get to Congress, I'm going to be working with somebody named Burgess Owens. Burgess Owens have the same amount of disdain that I have for the Democrats, because to me, they're a terrorist organization. They have always been a terrorist organization. When it came to wanting to enslave and keep blacks as slaves, when they did the 94 crime bill, when they did the Jim Crow laws, I mean, they're continuing to separate and do the same thing today. That organization needs to be banned from this country. And I tell you what, once we get rid of them, we'll have a closed border, we'll have justice courts, we'll have peace in this country. Now, everything that's troubling this country right now is happening to us because of the Democrats.
Yeah, absolutely. Listen, we were talking.
I will add really quick, complicit Republicans as well. Instead of active patriots like you who want to enact change for the betterment of this country, as opposed to the Republicans who have just been sitting idly by and going along with.
I completely agree.
Basically, being Democrats going the speed limit.
I definitely agree.
Larry Hogan. Let me just put it out there. Now, we were talking a little, but before I get into my story, so Michaela just joined us. Michaela, please tell people who you are.
Sorry, I got booted off, but I'm Michaela Montgomery, Amaya's mom, Beyonce, in the political sphere. But no, I am the founder of Conserve the Culture, which is a mobilization and engagement organization down here in Atlanta. And we primarily mobilize and engage HBCU students. So my network consists of about 250 students from Clark Atlanta University, Spelman College, Morehouse College, and Morris Brown College. And aside from, hooking them up with jobs, I also bring them to events so that, they can meet, great people, and just, make better decisions when it's time to go to the polls. Excuse me, y'all. These are my broken glasses, and I'm just not realizing this.
You're okay. So this is what I was finna say before. Now, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine before we came on here. And I was going over with it was my nephew, and I was talking to him. I said, "Listen, why do you think it is that in my nephew's black, right? So let me put this in perspective." I said, "Why do you think it is that all of the music that they push, all of the culture that they put in the face of people is always gangster, it's always disrespecting women, it's always this type of, scenario, the music, everything. The music moguls won't push certain albums if they're positive. No, we want you to say this and say this and say this. It'll sell albums." What they're doing is they're creating this picture of people in the black community where it doesn't matter. It's just not in the United States. You can go to Japan, and when people see black people in Japan, the media has created an image where people get this thought process because that's what they have done. That's what they've done. And so then what happens is when incidents of real racism occur behind that, what it does is it puts people on two different sides of an aisle where we can't exist on the, well, at least that's what the Democrats want. They don't want us to be on the same side at the same time. So it makes us appear to be separated from one another and not the same, because they want people to believe all white folks are one way, all natives are one way, all black people, all Mexicans. So they can put us in these squares or in these groups and they can control us like that. But that's not who we are. That's not who we are. Cultures cross color barriers. Cultures cross all. There are people in my family that are in culture that I'm not in, but we're family. Culture is different than color. The Democrats do this to create an image and put it out into the world to make people think something so that they can control people. Do you see this in your everyday life? People that assume that you may feel, think, or whatever a certain way because you're black. And they're completely wrong because they have never taken the time to get to know who you are.
I think we know that that's become a more popular thing because now you hear literally every black voice with a platform say black people are not a monolith. So of course, naturally, we're now starting to understand that the general perception of us tends to be a certain way. But again, like, for instance, even as a black person, like, we even do it to ourselves. So it's not even just, okay, all of our music videos and all of our TV shows and all of our movies are, everybody's ghetto, everybody's hood, everybody want to fight, all of this extra stuff. And so, you can't necessarily be mad at folks who don't interact with black people on a regular basis to think that, oh, well, this is all that I've ever seen black people to be, so this must be who they are. Same thing goes, though, with black people to other black people. Going to Detroit, I thought Detroit was going to be dirty, ghetto, desolate, just all kinds of nasty, dangerous, and Detroit was beautiful. And that's because in black media, Detroit is only ever depicted as being dirty, ghetto, desolate. Like, I've never seen a movie where people are like, let's go down to the Riverwalk in Detroit. Like, it's always 8 Mile this and it's so tough that. So we do it to ourselves. And then, of course, the world sees us as that as well. So I've of course, experienced it. I grew up in Henderson, Nevada. A lot of people couldn't believe I had a dad. People couldn't believe my house was bigger than theirs. People couldn't believe, both my parents was in the house. They had cars. My parents were retired. Like, they're like, how are you living like this? But they've never seen, like, black people live nice outside of the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So I've definitely experienced it. So, aside, so when, like, foreigners or, like, folks from other places, have these assumptions, I've learned to not necessarily get too upset because you genuinely might not know better, and being an American, we can all remember 9/11. And yes, I was young, but I remember how everybody treated Muslims in the aftermath of that attack, in which case, every time you saw a Muslim, people were like nervous or people acting scared, or, you had Muslims afraid to walk around in their traditional attire because they didn't want to face retribution in public because there was this national every Muslim is a terrorist thing. So, like, we as Americans have either seen it up close or some of us have participated in it before. So to act like it's only something specific to black people, number one, is wrong. But then number two, as black people, we got to understand that, yes, this is what, is put out, but this is also what we support. You know, we're not supporting our Black voices that are positive. You know, we're talking about how their edges aren't laid or how his shoes are corny. Like, we're not necessarily paying attention to the subject matter and the things that matter, you know, and that's part of the reason why folks are going to continue to think that we're ghetto and we're thugs, and, you know, because we play into it. We can't even act like we play into it. Sexy Red is the biggest star we got right now. We play into it.
And
what do you think, Jerone?
Well, I think primarily, it's because of what Joe Biden said. I think a lot of people missed what he said, and it was very important what he said. You ain't Black, and if you're not voting for me. When he made that statement was to me, because I studied so much Jim Crow stuff, and that was really like from the Jim Crow South time area. The Democrat Party, Hollywood, and the music moguls and all the different people have really perpetuated this identity on Blacks, and they've taught us to embrace it, right? To be uneducated, to be a thug, to be a killer, to hate your own brother, to beat your woman, treat her like she's nothing. That's what they consider being Black. And they taught Black people through Hollywood and through all of these things. You pat them on the back, you give them money, you give them positions for doing this. These people are paid very handsomely to portray killers and write songs about, you know, smoking and drinking. I'm in the club. How many songs is in the club? They're not talking about being in the church. They're not talking about being a good husband. They're not talking about being a good wife and a faithful wife. And like she stated, Sexy Red is the biggest star. This the lowest, raunchiest stuff in the world. And here's the thing: no other race,
to be honest with you,
no other race puts their women out there like the Black race. And here's what we need to start doing. If someone shows any anti-Semitism, the entire Jewish community comes out and rebukes it.
Yeah.
Right? The Black community have got to come together and begin to.
And I think us along with them, though. Us along with them.
Right. And we have to do this. The Black community has to do the same thing. That when we have these Sexy Reds and all these women coming out here talking about their wet wops and all this kind of stuff, we need to rebuke it. We need to go after the music companies and tell them that this is a disgusting display and betrayal on the Black community. And this does not represent our women. And listen, if the Democrats can find a way to curse Black women and Black people, they will do it. And this is why Black women are the least marrying women in the world, because they're seen as nothing but a booty shaker, thought, low life, but she's never seen as a wife from Hollywood and from the music pictures.
Yeah, the Black values. I mean, I've lived long enough. I'm almost 50. It's hard to say out loud. But
you're young, man. Your antlers haven't even come out yet.
Yeah,
you're a young buck.
Seen it. I've seen it though. I've seen it myself. I've seen the value system of families where I grew up when I was younger. It's no different. They were Christian. They had standards and values, and it was respect. Any disrespect, period, was not tolerated. You couldn't disrespect any older person on your block, any older person in your family. You couldn't do it. You couldn't do it. And especially Black moms. I'm just going to put it, especially Black moms don't toy with them. It was like that. But as I got older, I started to see the culture change. If you remember C. Dolores Tucker, anybody?
Who?
Remember C. Dolores Tucker? C. Dolores Tucker was out there back when Tupac was first putting out his albums, when he had got out.
I wasn't born, so
pushing.
She
was pushing back against the culture, that thug culture and all that, and she was demonized. People went after her because she had Christian values, and she was warning back then of what would happen to the culture if we didn't intervene. And she was 100% right, 100% right. And I think that looking back now, I think that a lot of people would listen to a lot of things that she was saying, and they owe her an apology because she was truly fighting. It reminds me a lot of Candace Owens today. Candace Owens today will come on there and say, look at the fatherless rate in the Black community in the 60s, and look how much better our families were off. Then LBJ with the Great American Society Act. And now look at the family split up. Look at what's happened to the black family today. Even Obama said you're 8 times more likely to go to prison without a dad in the house. All these things that he said. But now whenever she says them, people don't want to receive it, even though it's true. Even though the same things were said by Louis Farrakhan, they will listen to Louis Farrakhan say them and accept them as fact. But when Candace Owens says it, they think they know what her intentions are, and they just tear her down, and it makes no sense to me. The truth is the truth.
Right.
I think.
Well, it's kind of like what. Go ahead, brother.
Sorry
Go
about
ahead.
a little bit of delay there.
I think the community and the culture has an issue with separating entertainment from reality. And so to speak to your point, that also would play into why I guess Black women might be unmarried. But I don't think we would be the most unmarried because we're seen necessarily as booty shakers and whatnot. When people get married, statistically, they tend to marry within their race. So it has nothing to do with other people seeing Black women as that, because other people marry Black women at a higher rate than, some others. Unfortunately, a lot of Black men only see women as that. And then Black women, unfortunately, have played into the, I have to look like this, I have to act like this in order to attract a man that can take care of me. And so a lot of it also deals with not just how the women act, but what the men entertain. It's not cool anymore to, be respectful to women. It's not cool anymore to court a woman. It's not cool anymore to not pressure girls for sex. It's not cool anymore to take care of your kids. So a lot of the acts that we're getting from Black men, or the lacks thereof, have to do with, a lot of the issues that we have, and the reason why I think a lot of Black women act out. Because unfortunately, the BBL girls, the stripper girls, the FNs, get money girls, those are the ones who you do see on the vacations, and you do see getting, going on shopping sprees and at nice dinners and stuff. And the nice girls, the ones that everybody was raised to be like, the ones who do go to church, the ones who lead the Bible study, the one who, cook, clean, and shut up. Like, those girls are overlooked because they're not fun. So I think, again, Black people need to separate entertainment from reality, because I don't think any other culture can say that they don't have people like Sexy Red in their culture. The issue is they don't prop them up and act like this is a way of life. They know how to enjoy the music, go to the party, have a great time, but then they go home and handle their responsibilities. Unfortunately, as Black people, I think we just never leave the illusion of the party. And it's like, okay, like, I'm in this music video, this is my life. I'm in this movie, this is my life. And it's like, that's the entertainment sector of it, and we let it spill into our reality. I think everybody else doesn't necessarily have an issue differentiating between the two.
So
you're kind of saying that when all the entertainment industry, the giant corporations that have kind of taken over the Black entertainment side, where they show money, guns, being a gangster, being extremely promiscuous, that's kind of bled into the culture and then permeated there as if that's what life is about, instead of having the fun times where you can have weekends or things like that, where you do go out and party and you go do all that fun stuff. But instead of them having their own goals and striving to be, a churchgoer, a father, something like that, it's become the idolization of the entertainment industry. I think is what you're kind of trying to say, is just the fact that these people who've been propped up as idols, who make these music videos and who've kind of given off the illusion that that's the best way to live, have become the idols, instead of like back in the 60s or 50s, when Black Americans had an incredibly high marriage rate. They attended church every Sunday, where they focused on family structures. And before the civil rights movement, they were looking to become equals in everybody's eyes, right? Like, they didn't want to have special rights. They wanted to have equal rights. And it almost seems like just about the time when they had the civil rights movement is when they removed God from our institutions. I think it was the 1962 Supreme Court decision where they removed God. So it kind of tracks along with, okay, we got the civil rights movement, but then that's almost simultaneously when they removed God from our institutions and marriage itself, as far as the government's eyes go. So it was like it kind of collapsed after that, where marriage rates plummeted. And then a little bit later on, the entertainment industry started making these, for lack of a better term, these losers. They're propping them up and thinking that this gangster life is the way to be, and being promiscuous, not having a family, and getting as many hoes as you can. You know, I mean, it sure seems like there's been a deliberate attack on Black American culture to, I guess, to destroy the family, and it's worked.
Mm-hmm.
And what's crazy is the one they call a sellout is the one that doesn't want to participate versus the one who's actually doing it, who is the sellout because he's participating.
There you go.
Right? So, because they got a name for him, Square, right?
Yeah.
When in reality, that's who you want to be. That's who you want to be.
That's right. No doubt about it.
So let me. I got a clip I'm going to show you guys, and we're gonna get on off of some different things. But we lost him. I'm sure he'll be back. Where is this clip at? So this is a clip of. This is a clip. You got it figured out. All right. So here's a clip of the judge. I wanted to put a clip of that judge that Atlanta. I know you done seen this already, but this judge is absolutely just off her rocker. I don't know what she did or who convinced her to do it, but here it is.
For what? I wasn't cuffed. I wasn't really needed. Shut the fuck up. You look like a nigga who was trying to eat something before and I never let him. Relax. Shut the fuck up. And stop touching me.
Don't.
Yeah, stop touching me. Get the fuck off of me. Stop touching. I got it. I can walk on my own. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Don't.
To play the whole clip, but that was a judge. That was a judge.
Yes, a probate judge down here in Atlanta. Yes, that was her.
It reminded me of.
So, while I will not make excuses for anybody's behavior as somebody, okay, I'll put it like this. If you saw what led up to her arrest, you can understand why she would be so irate and so irritated that she was being arrested. However, knowing her position, knowing, the status of her, a Black woman, a probate judge, you're out in Atlanta. Number one, you kind of can't get that drunk. Number two, you should have better friends so that if you do get that drunk, they can get you the hell up out of there. And then number three, it's like there is just a certain level of decorum you are expected to uphold. And by the time she got in the back of the police car, all the different things she was saying, like the last person who tried me was dead within a month or a week or something like that. And you look like somebody who tried to eat me before. And I told him no, like these are things you cannot say as a sitting judge, And so that's where that's where the line, was crossed. Her going out, her having a good time. She's human. I think everybody deserves to do that. But unfortunately, when you choose these positions of power, they do come with responsibilities on and off the clock. Like in and out of uniform, you still have to act a certain way. This is something I'm learning because I'm 28 and I still want to be young and turned. But now that I've been seen with Trump and stuff, I got to chill out, And so if these are things that I know as somebody who, I'm not elected, not appointed, not anything like that, there's really no excuse for somebody, like her of her statute to not know as well.
Yeah, I felt the same way about Fannie Willis when she took the stand, how she acted. I thought
talking about her Grey Goose and all this other stuff. Yeah, it was just. But again, what did I just say? These are the things that we prop up. Like she said that and we cheered it on. Like if anybody else did that, like if Trump had said something like that, like, hey, what happened when this transaction went down? Oh, I don't know, man. I was drunk off the Grey Goose. Like they would never let him live it down, But since it was a Black woman, it was okay. Like you got to take the emotion out of certain situations and simply look at the facts. So,
don't you think she knew that though?
Another story, but when we're looking at this judge, it's like, girl, have your fun, but you got to know your limits. Like if you want to have fun like that and not be chastised like this, or everybody make a big deal out of it, like girl, go be a bottle girl, like go be a manager at a club. Like go work at Walmart. Like, go work somewhere where people won't make a big deal out of you going out and getting drunk. You can't be a judge, a police officer, shoot, even a lawyer, a politician, nothing acting like that. Like,
you gotta have some decorum. Yeah, decorum is very important. Now, guys, go ahead. I'm gonna play a interview when you're done.
One of the things that I say quite often is that I grew up in a post and pre-racist America. And the reason I say that isn't that, like, when I was growing up in the 90s, that there was no racism. Right? I don't believe that. I don't think anybody believes that. But I think that in the 90s, we had reached a point in our society where people were treated more equally than they ever have been in known human history, right? And then there was a point where it shifted. And it seems like a lot of our society has been playing into that. And I think especially around the early 2010s, when social media became really popular, or I guess more commonly used throughout the country, is when the term racism skyrocketed in all the mainstream news. And these DEI initiatives really kicked off. And I feel like there was a lot of people who really leaned into these roles. Now, whether or not, I'm not saying that this judge was a DEI hire, but I am saying that there's a lot of people who leaned into these roles to gain positions of power. And in order to get out of trouble, they can lean back into that side and say, like, oh, well, I'm black, so you can't expect that from me. Or, you know, I'm native, so you can't expect that from me. Or, I mean, there was that big thing for a while where showing up on time was considered, what did they say? It was I can't quite remember the exact.
He's talking about CPT is what he talking.
Yeah. No, but they basically said it was white. It was part of white culture to show up on time, and just the fact that they had a schedule and things like that. I mean, that was circulating for quite some time. And so it almost gives people an excuse to be able to fall back on that and to get out of trouble in a certain way, like Fannie Willis, in saying that, oh, you know, I was drunk off the Grey Goose. I don't remember that. It's like, that's not a good excuse, and nor should we tolerate that as an excuse. In her position, she should be able to stand up on her own 2 feet and actually have convictions and be able to fulfill the questions asked of her during that hearing. But I don't know when there will be a time that we'll be able to actually start treating people as equals again, because this has been leaned into for so long, not just by mainstream media, but by everybody else as well. People participating in culture and society, that they've leaned into this. I know I had a job offer that, because I was Native American, I could have skipped 2 years worth of wait in order to get an interview for the job, because I had a cousin who is very white, and he was on a waiting list for 2 years before he got the job. And I was offered the interview right off the bat, because they're like, well, we don't have any Native Americans. And I was like, oh, fuck. I'm not playing that game. I just don't want to do it. I have no interest in doing that. So there's a certain part of me that wants to lead by example. I'm not saying that I know all the answers, but we really need to stop making excuses for people when they fall short like that. So this judge, when she falls short, you said it very well. There's a time and place for this stuff, but you can't do that as a judge. On and, you know, off the clock and on the clock, you have to be respectful. You have to have some level of decorum, and you have to hold yourself to a higher standard. And I think we as a society need to start holding everybody to that standard when they're in positions like that.
Yeah, I agree. And listen, if I'm just going to be blatant, just put it right out there. This is exactly what I think in their mind, what was going on. I usually don't convict people of thought crimes, but this is my real, what I think they was really thinking. What I think that they were doing was, in the moment when they were under the microscope, on the stand, in the back of the cop car, whatever it is, they wanted to engage their powers of intersectionality. If I not only use the fact that I'm black, but I'm a woman, and then I play that out as the stereotype that everyone expects me to be, if they do anything against me while I'm in that mode, I can say it's due to racism versus me being a dumbass. That's my take on it. And I think that is honestly what is going on. And
well, were the cops involved white? Because I didn't hear anything about racism. I just heard a lot
no. I'm talking about nationally, not people involved.
Yeah. I'm like this situation. I didn't hear nothing about racism. But okay, all right, we're clear.
No, so here is and I wanted to do this before we started because I wanted to show people exactly how much of a beast Michaelah is, and I'm gonna play the interview. And you guys got to understand. You got to understand the perspective here. I watched this little girl. I say little girl, you're a grown woman. But when I look at my daughter, and I remember those days, they don't seem that long ago. And to see the person that you've turned into,
getting old, Eddie,
the things that you accomplished, and I'm literally proud of you. I mean that from the bottom of my heart. I am proud of you. And when I see stuff like what I'm getting ready to play right now and how you handled yourself and the way that you spoke in this interview with Fox, I felt pride, and I want everybody else to see this. This is amazing. Watch. Long interview.
5 years ago. Michaela Montgomery is the state director of BLEXIT, Georgia, who met Trump at the Atlanta Chick-fil-A. I think you were the one that was hugging Trump. You're famous now. I think you wanted your mom to know about that. Michaelah, when you hear Joe Biden give the commencement address, and that's his message, how does that make you feel?
I think it's interesting that somebody who spent a majority of their career punishing black men and locking them up for generations to come. It's very interesting that you would then get in front of a large pool of very successful and educated black men and try to, I guess, make up for the wrongs or act like we were supposed to forget. I think that it was a very tone-deaf attempt at them trying to win over an audience who, whether he realizes it or not, has been studying his administration, has paid attention to his policies, have been aware of his actions while in office, and they're not pleased with his performance. With that being said, no matter how many times you come and make a speech and mention certain things, oh, I have Morehouse men working in the White House. Morehouse men have been working in the White House since long before you were ever there. So that, I don't know what the point in bringing that up was, to say that, oh, America doesn't love you. It's very interesting for you, of all people, to say that, considering it was you who passed the bills that made us feel unloved. And I just wonder how he could stand there and feel safe knowing that at one point in time he would refer to that entire audience as a large pool of super predators. And I remember vaguely him saying that he didn't want his kids to go to school with those same kids that were graduating because that would turn the school into some racial jungle. So regardless of what he got up there and said, not one time did he apologize for what he's done. So I don't think that any speech he could have given at the office or any campaign strategy in regards to engaging with HBCUs will undo his wrongs of the past. Mm-hmm. And considering he's had 4 years to try and right them and he didn't, it's going to take a lot more than a speech for us to like you.
Yeah, so Trump's been in Atlanta. Now he's campaigning in the Bronx soon. Why do you think former President Trump's getting traction in the African-American community?
Because much like our Bronx girl Cardi B, they're disappointed with Biden's performance. So not saying that Cardi B, of course, endorsed Trump. She said she's not voting for anybody. Mm-hmm. But if you have people who went so hard for Biden, the same people who recorded themselves crying when he won the election are now saying that they are very disappointed and they would rather not vote than vote for him, says a lot. Because everybody knows if there's two people running and you don't vote for one, that's pretty much you giving your vote to the other person. Exactly so whether or not.
That's amazing.
I'm like, oh, I'm so cute. Okay.
You knocked it out of the park. You really did. I didn't know that Cardi B changed her attitude toward Biden. I remember she interviewed him in the beginning of the election, and she was advocating for him. Well, you're right.
Yeah,
not voting for Trump is voting for Biden.
She's revoked her endorsement and said that she's sitting this election out.
Wow. Well, she's still voting for Biden if she sits it out. That's the reality of it. Everybody knows that is the reality of it. So beyond that, guys, I want to make an announcement here. We are, as of this morning, Maurice, we're going to get Michaela down there hopefully as well. We're going to get the whole Patriot Prayer Network team together. We're going to Eagle, Idaho. We're hosting an event just like, how Turning Point USA has their event or whoever, right? Like Reawaken Tour. We are doing Red Pill Palooza. The Patriot Prayer Network is. We're going to be hosting it at the Old State Saloon. And it's going to be amazing, guys. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be an event where we're going to get people to get out and vote. We're going to have prizes, great culture. We're going to have music, Q&A. We're going to shoot a podcast live from there. If you're in Idaho, come through. We're going to have veterans speaking. We're going to have politicians speaking. We're going to have all of it. And we are the MCs. We're the hosts. And we're going to do a town hall style Q&A. I can't wait. I can't wait. Red Pill Palooza. Look out. It's so new. We haven't even done any promos for it yet because we just found out this morning, and I've been working all day putting things together. Maurice and I have just been on it. And we have some really good sponsors behind us right now, people that are helping make this become a reality, and we can't thank them enough for that. So definitely want to bring up the vote. What is it? Vote4America.org. That's vote, the number 4America.org. Do not forget. Guys, if you're not registered, what are you doing? If you know someone else who's not registered, get them out there to vote. This is the most important election of your lifetime, of your grandparents' lifetime, of their grandparents' lifetime. It is the most important election there is, period. There's never been another more important one in my entire life. And neither in yours either. So please get out and vote and register somebody else and join us on August the 17th at Old State Saloon in Eagle, Idaho. So, Michaela, what do you? I'm sorry.
I wanted to take a piece on that as well. So this last weekend, I had driven over to Eagle, Idaho with my wife, and we met the owner in person. We did have him on our podcast earlier this month. So it was Mark Fitzpatrick, owner of the Old State Saloon. He celebrated Heterosexual Awesomeness Month, which I thought was a great thing. And basically we got to talking to him, and exactly like Eddie said, we're setting up a live podcast that we are going to be doing from the Old State Saloon in Eagle, Idaho, August 17th. I believe we're going to try to have it be a ticketed event because I'm not sure how many people. It will be a ticketed event?
Yeah, it will be a ticketed event. We can only have in, if you count the people that are, I think it'll be 100 people that are able to buy tickets to get in. And so, because you got to discount us, right, as well. I think there's going to be a large group of us. So I think it should
be about 100 people.
It should be about 100 folks there. We're going to have speakers, going to have music. We're going to be filming it live, streaming it, games. We're going to be giving away just amazing stuff and prizes. Our sponsors are providing some really cool stuff. If you don't know, let me show you. So this is the Patriots Prayer Dark Roast Coffee. And if you don't know about the coffee club, go to the smokingguncoffee.com, get in the coffee club, and now you're good. So join the coffee club. It's $39. That's it, $39. And they will send you 4 big bags of coffee like this per month. And you don't have to worry about just continuing to order the coffee. You're supporting the show. You're supporting veterans' causes at the same time. Milam, I believe, is going to be there in Eagle, Idaho, and he's going to be speaking. So we're going to have Apache helicopter pilots come down. We're going to have congressional candidates come down. It's going to be a blast.
If you guys reach out to Steve Loves Ammo and convince him to come down as well, because I'm trying to get him down there. I really want to meet him in person. He's a big personality on Twitter. X. He gets way more traction than I probably ever will, but he's a great patriot. He's a good veteran, and I think his voice is really needed in this time. And having a live event, one of the things that we really want to push is bringing back culture where you meet in person, where you can go up to someone and disagree and have a conversation. And I mean, even if you agree on everything, sure, why not? But we need to be able to start meeting in person. And I would like to start hosting events. Mark, the owner of Old State Saloon, he is gracious enough to let us have a podcast there and be incredibly accommodating. So if you guys would like it, the event is going down August 17th. It should be around 6 p.m. or so. So we will get the tickets out. It's like Eddie said, it is very new, but we are going to host it. It's going to be a great time. I hope that some of you guys can come. I would love to meet McGroin Nation in person, all you guys. And if anybody can make it, just head down to Eagle, Idaho on the 17th, and we'll be there live.
So I don't usually do this, but I usually don't have this happen. Courage 83 just came into the chat, and they're plugging their MAGA Life channel. I guess it's a Rumble channel. And so shout out to them, guys. If you're in the movement, hey, we support you. So guys, if you're following and watching this podcast and you're on Rumble or X, go give a follow to MAGA Life. It's in the chat. So welcome in. Thanks for coming in and joining us. And that's one of the things about us that I don't like the other way of doing it. It's not about me and Maurice. It's not about just Michaela. It's about this movement. It's about getting everyone involved, getting everyone to make a better country, a better place. And that's what MAGA is. Literally, Make America Great Again is a movement about bringing people together. It is a movement about making America better, making us prosperous. And that's so we support every single person in that movement. And so definitely go give them a check them out. I'm going to check them out when we're through here.
Michaela, I'm hoping you're going to be there as well.
Yes, I heard I'm getting flued out. I've never been to Idaho. I'm coming.
Yeah, it's going to be fun.
Yeah, it's very well. I guess it's not all that flat, but yeah, it seemed like a really nice town. We didn't get to go and do much because we drove up there Saturday and then drove back Sunday. So, and it's a 10-hour drive roughly. So. Yeah, it was a long ways, but it was well worth it. I got to meet Mark, and the interview is actually it's the pinned tweet on my page. So if you go to Law Native Patriot and look at the interview there, it's a fairly short interview, but he's a good guy. I'm excited to do it. I'm really excited to host an event, and hopefully this opens the door to being able to host a lot more events and bring in a lot more people together from all around the country. That's what I want to do. I would love to host events and inspire people to get active in their community and to make sure that they participate in the bettering of our country as opposed to just leeching off of it, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. I watched that debate, and I mean, we did the debate watch party. Maurice did his own, watched it with his wife. We were hosting one with all of the PPN guys, and we broke our record for people watching. I never saw so many people in a live that we've done ever. It was crazy. Everybody wanted a piece of that debate. And it was just, I mean, you saw how confused he was. You saw like how he was barely talking into the mic. Like it was on full display for everyone. Listen, if you don't realize that man's not running the country by now, you got problems. He is not in charge. He is not the one making decisions.
Here's an appropriate question. What do you think about the Democrats and just the left in general speaking to Trump's black jobs comment?
Is it me?
Yeah.
I think it speaks to the idea that, number one, the left believes that Black people lack comprehension skills. And then number two, unfortunately, I think that as Black people, it presents, again, the opportunity for the left to realize that their ploys are working and that they can continue to play in our face and we'll be just fine. Because at the end of the day, when we discuss the Black community, Black America, reparations for Black people, HBCUs being Black schools, nobody has an issue with that. But when we're discussing migrants flooding Black communities and taking jobs that are in these Black communities, therefore those jobs would primarily be held by Black people, then if he's saying that they're coming into your communities and they're taking your jobs, that's literally exactly what's going on. But the fact that everybody's going to blow it up as if, oh, they're taking Black jobs, as if Trump thinks that Black jobs designate a certain spectrum of jobs. Now that also raises the question where, okay, what is it that these Black jobs that you guys think he's equating these migrant jobs to? And then are you guys saying that people migrate here to take nothing but low-level jobs? Like when we think of migrants, do we think of strawberry pickers and janitors? Because I think of doctors, lawyers, and politicians even. I know immigrants who have become, who have found a lot of success since coming over here. So to act like a Black job, equates to a migrant job, and that makes it a bad thing. Are migrants or immigrants not doctors, lawyers, teachers, successful business owners once they come over here? So if that's a migrant job, then we're saying that migrants are taking our jobs, then that too would also be a Black job. Like, I don't get why we equate those jobs that they're coming here for as being just everything low level and not something that people look to, because I don't think anybody's coming over here with the hopes of not doing better than what they were doing back home.
And I think you're exactly right on that, because I agree with you fully. And I think most people would agree with that statement, because when Trump said it, you understood the context. He was basically saying that in the Black community, it's the same way that they talk about Black Americans voting. When they say Trump is winning over, the Black vote in America, they're talking about the same thing. All he was saying is that they're flooding these illegal immigrants in, and they will be displacing jobs. And speaking to the Black community, he was saying the Black jobs. It was very, very, you know what? This is actually what I was talking about earlier, in saying that people lean into this game, right? So instead of just addressing the substance, they want symbolism over substance. So instead of taking Trump at his word and in context of what he said, it's easier for them to show the symbol of, oh, I'm just going to my Black job now. And they're a successful Black American. And so they try to use that as like a slap or an insult to Trump, because what they have right now is just symbolism instead of substance. When you get down to the substance of it, you come to your conclusion and you say, well, Trump in his context was just talking about Black Americans losing jobs because of the market being completely flooded and lowering the wages by illegal immigrants taking jobs. I mean, the fact that it's being leaned into like this, and then people are accepting that as what he said, it is unfortunate. But I don't know who made that comment, symbolism over substance, but I that's really playing out in our political atmosphere today, and it's kind of sad.
I didn't even, until she explained it the way she did. I mean, your perspective is astounding. That's why I said I'm just proud of you. I really am. I'm extremely proud of you. To take that, dissect it, and then regurgitate it and put it into understandable format the way that you did, and in the way that they try to abuse and use these types of topics to mentally control us and manipulate us, and you're able to see through it. And that's why I said, you know what? You need to have a podcast. You need to be out there. People need to hear what you're saying. What you're saying is necessary. And that's why, I can't wait. We are going to have her on Conserving the Culture on PPN. When are we going to get to see you on PPN? When is that happening? When are we when is the
come, man? Soon come. Like I said, I'm in the middle of moving, so keep inviting me on. And in the midst of me getting my stuff packed up, moved out, and moved back in,
I hate it.
So if you guys missed that,
build the anticipation. I want people to be like, "Is Kayla gonna be on? Is Kayla gonna be on?" Let's build it up.
Michaelah, she's going to be hosting her own show. We're going to have her back on as many times as we can. She's one of the patriotic voices in this country that I will do everything in my power to promote. You're one of the people that I see a bright future in, and I really hope that we can help lift you as high as we can. You know, this is what we're trying to do at the Patriots Prayer Network. It started out with just Eddie as a Patriots Prayer Podcast. I tagged along, and we've been racing full speed to lift everybody up as much as we can. You know, one of the things I noticed about Eddie when we first started was his giving heart, right? He wants to be successful, but as he's successful and he finds people that he trusts, he fully trusts them, and he wants to bring them up with him. As we move forward, the people that we trust, that we bring on, people like you who are strong patriotic voices, we want to lift you up as much as we possibly can. And as we get bigger, as this network grows, I hope you can be a big factor in helping us grow as well. But I think that it's more important. It's like Eddie said earlier, it is more than just Eddie and I about, you know, growing this Patriots Prayer Network. I want to have as many Patriots as I can in this network, and that way we can have a diverse range of voices. And I'm talking about actual diversity, okay? Not like we need a certain number count of different or varying skin colors. No, I want intellectual diversity. I want people who are actually able to deconstruct narratives and to bring it out to whoever your audience may be. And I think that we have that with you and a couple other hosts that we've got as well. So I'm really looking forward to seeing your show. And whenever you get done moving, well,
if we were there, we'd help you move. I hate moving. So I know how it is.
Man.
I know exactly how it is. So, and here's Jerone back on here. Let me switch us back up. There he is, brother. So we got to go take a break real quick, and we'll be right back after this.
I mean, I cannot believe no detergent, no hot water, no fabric softener. Now you even threw away all the chemicals to clean your home. I don't need to buy spray to cut through grease. I don't need to buy window cleaners. I don't need to buy carpet shampoo. I don't need to buy things to mop my floor. I don't need to buy things to take pesticide off my vegetables, fruits, and fish. Oh my gosh, where did this come from? I'll tell you where it came from. It came from hospitals. This is actually a photo of a huge commercial hospital laundry technology that cost in excess of $100,000 if you bought that whole thing, and it'll fill up your garage. That's how big it is. And what we've done with the advent of microelectronic technology, my team and I constantly use microtechnology just like your smartphone. The new EcoWasher SE is a chemical-free laundry and cleaning solution. Imagine, no more detergent, no more chemicals, saves you money, pays for itself, gives you a healthier life, and simplifies doing laundry. And now we're going to include 2 free Thunder Pure Safe Air Minis that purifies your home and sanitizes your surfaces like a thunderstorm in nature, eliminates all odors. Plus, you're receiving $100 off by using code podcast on the new EcoWasher SE. Let me remind you, you get 2 free Thunder Pure Safe Air Minis plus $100 off during this podcast. Podcast is your coupon code at
So Ashley is on YouTube, right? And Ashley wrote this, and most have read the indictments and have seen the overwhelming amount of evidence they contain. Just the phone transcripts in the indictment are enough to convict him of felonies. The rules, propaganda, election, fantasies, words, phrases like. So I don't know if she's talking about Trump.
If she's talking about phone transcripts, then I would imagine that she was talking about the
Ukraine phone call, which was Ukraine, a perfect phone call,
and the Georgia election when he was saying that we need to find 11,000 votes.
Find 30,000 votes. Yeah, sure. I mean, listen, yeah, it was 30,000. They know that they can misconstrue the meanings behind things, just like when they said Trump said there are good people on both sides. Well, that blew up in their face. You can keep finding little things like that and trying to add your own meaning to them and put it out. You don't have nothing to indict Trump on. They have nothing to really call him out on. You had a whole debate stage for an hour. If you had anything, you would have brought it up. You didn't. You couldn't. There was nothing there. Believe me, they hate this man so much that if there was really something concrete, it would have been pulled it out by now. There is nothing. There is nothing.
Again, it's symbolism over substance. That's why they keep talking about January 6th in the way that they do, because they want to paint a particular narrative in your brain about what January 6th is. So that way you don't go looking into it and understanding everything that there was behind it. And the fact that Nancy Pelosi, even on that day, took responsibility, saying that it was my fault that I didn't bring in the National Guard, and that Trump had talked to her about bringing in the National Guard, and she took responsibility in front of camera that was just released as of late. But no, they have the symbolism over substance where they wish to.
Okay, I'm gonna do this again. I do this every single time. Ashley, you're watching. I am a very easy person to reach. If you really want to take that position, I will give you equal time, bring you on the podcast, and we can debate. And you can bring all your evidence.
Exactly. I want to hear from Jerone. What's going on with you, Jerone?
Well, I'm in my primary, and we're looking good. I've won 2 televised debates. I've talked to them about how we're going to get our economy going again. People, we're going to close that border. We're going to take priority and make the American people the priority over these illegals and over foreign wars. And we're going to get the gas prices down, the food prices down, the things that matters most to most Americans. You and I and Sister Ashley, all of us, we're more politically astute than the average American. They want to go to work. They want to pay the prices that they can afford and take care of their families. And that's what we should be looking out for. And my message is really reaching a lot of people. And so we seem to be doing pretty well. And so we're up against the clock. I know. So July 30th is the primary. And listen, I'm the only true America First candidate in this race. My 2 top opponents, they've raised about $600,000 each. And to my meager whatever. But regardless of that, God has been good to me. My message is powerful. My team and I, we come in with energy. We come in with a positive aura about ourselves. We come in under prayer. And man, we light the room up, man. And when we leave out of there, we leave with more volunteers. We leave with donations. We leave with people that's ready to work and rock to get this country back on track. So that's where we are. I'm 30 days out. And my 2 opponents want to fund Ukraine. They still want to fund them. And I got it on video. So if you go to my Twitter, you'll see that. But that's where we are. And I'm asking everybody, you guys that are your podcasters, you have a social media account. Once you vet me, you go to my Instagram, you go to my X account, vet me, please. Look me up and down and see if I'm a true America First, see if I am who I say I am. And after you do that, you're going to discover that I'm a true America First, pro-life, pro-God, pro-family, pro-America First, pro-MAGA. And then after you discover that, ask Arizona. I'm doing a hashtag called Ask Arizona. Ask Arizona to vote for Jerone Davison for Congress. I'm not going to beat these guys when it comes to money. They're going to pay for mailers. They're going to pay for texts, all that kind of stuff. But like when I get off here with this interview, I'm going to knock up another 50 doors the night before it gets dark. And it's 110 degrees out here in Arizona. But that's how I'm doing it. And I need you all to really help me, because this seat is critical. Listen, my opponents know they can't beat the Democrat. They can't beat him. They don't want to beat him. They want to raise the money, and once they raise the money, they win. I'm not raising money. And when I lose, I lose. And when I lose, the country lose. So we got 30 days, folks. Let's shake it up. Help me out. We're doing wonderful. I think if we had the election today, I will come out on top. But these guys will send the mailers.
I'm doing this right now for everyone to see. As you see, I'm on
Jerone's
side. I'm right now, JeroneForCongress.com. I'm going to make a donation right now, literally right now, guys. If you got $20, $5, whatever it is, there's enough of us right now. There's damn near 2,500 plus people watching this right now.
Yeah,
that you have no idea how much of an impact it would be for Jerone if each of us just gave $5 right now. $5.
That's right.
It's all
and listen,
if you guys didn't know, we interviewed Jerone.
Go for it.
Okay. Sorry about the delay, man. We've interviewed Jerone a couple times, and he's one of the best candidates that I've seen run in this country, period. End of story. I mean, I want to back you fully. If I could vote for you, I would, but I live in Washington State. But I do want to help spread your message as much as I possibly can. I would love to see you in Congress. I think that you would be a game changer once you get there. Once you get that kind of that seat in that position, I think that you would do extremely well with it. Loves God, America First.
Here's a couple of bills. Here's a couple of bills I'm looking to introduce. One, my Internet Bill of Rights.
Sorry, but I gotta get the baby to bed, y'all. So
yeah. Thank you so much for joining us, Michaela. We love you, appreciate you. Can't wait.
I'll be back soon. It's been great. Great.
Have a good night.
You too.
All right, bye. So, all right, go ahead. I'm filling this out so I can make my donation.
Well, I don't want to slow that down. I don't want to interfere with that. Well, there's three bills that I want to. For one, if we're going to get our economy going again, we're going to stop the spending. We're going to stop the frivolous spending from the Democrats. The second thing that I'm going to refuse to do is sign anything from this omnibus bills. You know those huge bills that they roll out at the last hour at midnight, and then they force everybody to sign them? That is crazy spending, folks, that we don't even know where this money is going.
Yeah.
We have no idea where it's going. It's supporting LGBT. It's supporting other nations. It's securing other people's borders while our border is wide open. It's also paying for the cushy life that the invaders are living here in the country. So if we stop that, we'll cut it off. So another thing is that we've got to tap back into our energy sector, right? The oil industry is the blood life to the country. Thank you so much, my friend. Thank you. God bless you so much.
Hey, guys, if you do this too, show me you did this, man. Show me, throw a 1 in the chat. I want to know that you guys, $5, guys, $5. That's all I'm challenging you to do. $5.
That's it. And you can throw it on my X account too, showing that you made the donation. And that'll be great. And I'm not looking for proof, but it just encourage other people to do it. So we gotta drill. We have to frack. We have to burn coal. And here's another thing: embrace nuclear energy. That is the game changer, because that is gonna make the market so competitive that it's gonna cut the price to power your home in half. Your summer bill for the air conditioning your home in the summer is gonna cut in half with nuclear power. Y'all know that the submarines are powered 4 months underwater with nuclear power, nuclear energy. And so that's how we're going to get the economy down, and that's going to lower inflation. I'm going to vote for that. President Donald Trump is also going to offer tax cuts to major corporations, to mom and pop businesses, and to individuals. I want to make those tax cuts permanent.
Beautiful.
Now, Can that actually be done where the tax cuts are cut and they're permanently cut?
Cut. Permanent. President Donald Trump mentioned it the other day, and my heart jumped because I had just mentioned that before a crowd that I was doing a debate with, and one of my opponents kind of shook his head at it. But yeah, we can definitely do it. It's doable, and it can be done. As a matter of fact, some people are saying that we need to cut property taxes. We need to give the American people a break. Give the American people a break.
This is the thing. Section 230 is one of my things I want to see go bye-bye. Now, the other one is property taxes. You nailed it. Property taxes are the one reason that Americans are never going to be free. Because if I pay for my home and I've paid it, the mortgage is paid off, I cannot just go into my bubble and live my life. I got to continue to pay property taxes based on the value of the home for the remainder of my life for a home that I already own.
It's a dirty scam, right? It's a dirty scam, right? Your house is paid off. But if you don't pay the property taxes, somebody can look that house up, pay that property tax, and then own your home.
Steal your home.
It is a game. It is a crazy, crazy game. And I'm definitely going to look into that. And when I get to Congress, because I've known a couple of people who have done that because their parents had gone and they got Alzheimer's and they forgot to pay the property tax, and they were put into these homes, these care homes, and the property just sat there. Although it was paid for, the government still had its hand in the property and ended up giving it to somebody who ended up paying for the taxes. It is just so ridiculous. It's crazy.
So, you remind me of, you're like, the female version of you running right now is Valentina Gomez.
Somebody else, yeah. I watched some of her stuff because somebody told me about her. Say you and her need to hook up.
I love her, man. We barely missed her in Detroit. I was mad because some friends of ours that were there, they showed us, we just took this picture. Like, where did she go? Like, where did she go? I've been trying to get her on this podcast for like 3 months. She's a hard one to get, but she got an endorsement from Matt Gaetz. She got endorsement from a lot of people. I mean,
is she in the primary?
Really hard.
Is she in the primary race?
Yes.
Okay, yeah. Well, that might get her over the edge. Listen, I'm not going to get the endorsement of any of these guys, right? I'm getting the endorsement of you, the people. I need your endorsement. I need the people to endorse me. So you'll see on my Twitter account that I'm starting to post videos of people who are saying, like, I'm supporting Jerone Davison, and they're actually endorsing me. That's the biggest endorsement I can get, is from the voters and from the people. And you people who are out there, you patriots, if we're going to take the power back from these establishment guys, then we've got to do what we got to do to get people like me in Congress. I'm not going to keep running for Congress. This is my second time running. The first time I was poisoned out of the race. This time I was really squeezed out of the race financially because these guys had got a head start on me, and they hit all the places and got just soaked up all the money. But we, the people, are still very powerful, and all it takes is $5 or $10. All it takes is you getting on your Twitter account, your social media, and just saying, "Hey, I love this guy, Jerone Davison. Arizona, vote for Jerone." Simple.
So I just got a text from one of our followers with their donation that they sent you. That's Tariq.
Thank you so much. That's what I'm talking about.
Just sent you a donation.
I love it.
That's
Wonderful.
awesome, brother. Look, we need. Look, I'm challenging everyone watching. $5, people. Just $5. It's the price of a cup of coffee, an energy drink. $5.
Now with the $5, what is that going to do? Now I could text the people. Texting services is very expensive. It's like 7 cents a text. And we have a database of about 60,000 voters. 60,000 voters. And if I want to reach that 60,000, you do the math. And then let me tell you how much it costs to reach the 60,000 with a mailer. You talk about $80,000-$90,000. I don't have it. So if I can get the material, right? If I can go out and get the printed material, which I just got up this morning. This morning I hit 120 doors by myself, and I'm getting ready to go out and hit another 50 doors before it gets dark. But that printed material is costing us a grip. We're talking about maybe $2,200 a drop. And so I got a good team that's out here hitting it, and we're getting it done. So people ask why it costs so much money. It just costs, it just costs. It doesn't cost us $1 million, but it's going to cost us something. And when you contribute to that, you're helping a true grassroots candidate who has a vision and an offensive system that we're going to take into Congress. Aren't you tired of Republicans sitting in Congress and just letting the Democrats run all over them? And then they turn around 7 months later and then they try to do something. That's playing on defense. How do we win? We win when we go on offense and we go after them. My Internet Bill of Rights is an offensive weapon. My anti-Bill Gates is a weapon. My anti-George Soros bill is a weapon. My anti-medical speech bill is going to be a weapon. And what does that entail? That entails when you go into the hospital that doctors and nurses are no longer required to say your pronouns and adnouns and all this old silly stuff. If your birth certificate says that you're a male and it has your name on it, that is the only thing that they're required to say. They're not required to say pronouns.
That's
going to be one of mine.
It is very wild to me that if you fancy yourself to be whatever it is that you think you are, that you are allowed to force other people to play along with your delusion. That is amazing in a free country. Right? They want to lock up my brain. You want to put my brain in prison, my imagination in prison, my everything. Now I have to live in the world that you've projected, that I have to walk down. It's crazy to me that that's the reality of this. Now I want to play something, and I want you to speak to this, because this is what's on everybody's mind right now. This is exactly what Joe Biden ignored the other night in the debates, basically saying that Americans commit more murders than illegals do, and that was the excuse for why it was okay.
Hey,
look at
Eddie. Yeah, really quick before you play that, I wanted to address Jerone's point here.
Okay.
And I'll make it quick, because this is something that I think we really understand, Eddie and I, and our audience is understanding as well, is the fact that the Patriots who are stepping up now are technically, I mean, we're late to the game, right? You didn't get into politics 20 years ago. We didn't get into podcasting 20 years ago. We're stepping up to the plate now, because, I mean, and frankly, it's necessary, right? So
it's obligatory.
So in certain ways, we are behind in the game, and there's no way for us to compete with the funding of the machine of these rhino Republicans or these already established podcasts. The only way that we are able to battle this is with the help of the people watching. That's the only way that we grow. That's the only way that Jerone is able to get his message out right now. Because if we can band together as patriots, because all of my followers know what I do. I change tires for a living, right? I'm a nobody from a small town who, from a town of 2,500 people, and yet I'm growing because people are starting to begin to believe that, hey, we need these everyday Americans to start stepping up and make changes. And a patriot like yourself, Jerone, who actually wants to make changes, I would like to challenge people to participate in the system, who do participate in the system, to actually start pushing to make a difference against the establishment, against these rhinos in Congress, against these giant podcasts, or even something as simple as like our sponsor earlier, the Eco Wash thing, right? If you start changing your daily habits and you stop buying these chemicals, you start eating better, everything in your life will change when you start proactively thinking about what you're going to be doing, what you're going to be eating, who you're going to be supporting, what money you're going to spend your time with, whose attention you're allowing to have from you. Who are you allowing to capture your attention? And when that happens, when they see a patriot like you, Jerone, I hope that they feel compelled to support you. If it's not financially, then it's a share. Then it's going to his page and it's sharing his page. It's sharing that incredible ad that you made, which I absolutely love that ad. I'm going to play it again a little bit later, but I really hope that people understand that the way that we get this back, the way that we make this better, is that it takes us, and it's going to take you. It's going to take your action. It's going to take your donation. It's going to take your time. It's going to take you sharing this podcast. And we are eternally grateful for it, because we wouldn't be anywhere without you guys. But we do need to start getting active. And I appreciate everybody stepping up around from our audience. And I hope that you get a lot of support from this, Jerone.
Yeah,
well,
really
thank you.
do.
It's just one Starbucks cup. Starbucks is now $7 a cup, no matter what you get. You can get the smallest cup, and it's $7 no matter what it is, right? So a donation that equals a Starbucks cup of coffee or whatever, frap or whatever the deal is, just make that donation. But here's what we tend to do, is that we say, oh, Jerone's a great candidate, I'm sure everybody else is going to make the donation. Don't assume that. Because if you get more people assuming that, well, then nobody's making the donation, right? And I agree with you. Just be active. Just be active. Do it. Because I'm the candidate. I know. I go into a room and everybody assumes that, wow, people are going to be writing big checks to Jerone. But at the end of the night, when I open up the coffer box, it's just air. Because most people assume. Don't do that. Please don't do that. We're in the last stretch here. We're in the fourth quarter, and we need to bring this thing to a landing. And I want to overcome. And boy, what a great message is going to be sent to the establishment, and show them that your money is not going to get you any more of these seats in Congress, because the people are tired of being neglected. The people are tired of you and your little money and all of your little elite attitudes over we the people. When we the people speak, Washington needs to listen. And I've made 4 promises to my constituents. The first promise is that every year I'm going to show you my tax returns. I'm going to voluntarily show you that, because I want to show you that I'm accountable to you, and that I'm not taking any big pharma, big tech, any of this lobby money that's going to make me vote against the American people. The second thing is that I won't make any major votes on the House floor without talking to the LD chairs, the local district chairs that are linked to our precinct committeemen. The third thing, I want to do a lot of recruiting for PCs. And fourth, I'm going to raise funds for each one of my LDs. There's 5 LDs. Each one of them need to have at least $100,000. So when I recruit these young people and bring them into the precincts, they need to take them on vacations, bring them to Washington for President Donald Trump's inaugural and for special things across the country. That's what I'm talking about.
So I want to play this clip, and everyone knows the name Jocelyn by now. If you're not, you've been under a rock. Everybody knows what happened to this young girl unnecessarily. No parent should ever have to bury their child because the life is snuffed out long before it should have been. Because
that's hard to watch. That's hard for me to watch. I have 4 daughters. I have 4 daughters and I have a granddaughter. It's hard to watch this.
Yeah, I'm gonna play this real quick. These are the guys that shouldn't have been here, and they came here and took an innocent life far too soon. Check it out.
I want you guys to take a look at this exclusive video of those 2 men who are considered persons of interest and seen in surveillance photos shortly after she was killed. KPRC2 photojournalist Roger Franco and I were the only ones present at these apartments in North Houston when both men were placed in handcuffs and put in the back of police cars. Now, that little girl was found earlier this week on West Rankin Road. Police believe she snuck out of her apartment sometime after 10 o'clock Sunday night. Her mom didn't realize it until the next morning when she tracked her phone to the creek. Someone called 911 after driving by and spotting her around 6 o'clock that morning. First responders and HPD recovered her body from the scene. HPD said that she died of strangulation, and this is something that we've been seeing Mayor John Whitmire speak about at city council meetings. He said it's terrible and we shouldn't have to worry about a 12-year-old girl being murdered.
So in my world, rape is a capital offense. Human trafficking is a capital offense. These guys shouldn't sit on death row for 10 years or whatever it is. How do we stop this? What do we do? Now we know this. What should happen next? And how do we prevent it from happening again?
I was thinking about this for a while. I've been considering a lot of things. I need to speak to some lawyers and to some people in Washington, because really we need to find a way to hold judges liable.
Ooh. Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah. Ketanji wouldn't be sitting on the Supreme Court. That's for damn sure.
Exactly. Some kind of way. And this is, and I know this is hopeful speech, okay, folks? At some point, these judges who are releasing these animals and beasts back onto the streets of America need to be held liable for every life. Now, Joe Biden talk about, well, even Americans murder Americans, but here's the deal. If my children are in my house having an argument and they're fighting each other, they have a right to do that. I'm understand they're in my house, they belong there. But if a stranger walks in and starts beating up my children, well then, should I normalize that? Because a stranger comes into the house and starts, well, at least my children are beating on each other too. It is abnormal logic. Okay? And he needs to be held liable for this, not to the point where, oh, well, America's gonna vote them out because that's no.
Yeah,
he needs to be held liable for the lives of these people. As a pastor, I had to bury a beautiful young lady who was talented. She was 21 years old. She had a mental lapse because she was raped as a young girl. And let me tell you something, when people are raped at a young age, it messes with their head in a specific type of way. Well, she would go through mental lapses. She had to go into a facility down in Tucson. We're here in the heart of Phoenix. And so she went down there, and some kind of way fentanyl got into the facility. They found her dead on her bed, right? Fentanyl is being brought into this country. And I had to preach her funeral and comfort her mom. How do we face the American public with these type of things? So They all need to be held accountable for that. And I'm not just saying, well, vote him out. No. Joe Biden needs to be impeached, and once he's out, he needs to face criminal charges for opening that border. Mayorkas needs to face the same charges.
Yeah, I mean, now, that was not. They wouldn't even let Mayorkas's impeachment proceedings even begin before they objected to, because they didn't want the proof talked about. You saw that, Maurice. Remember the day that they were going to do it and they all objected and didn't let the impeachment trial go forward?
Yeah.
Again,
I saw that.
It's narrative or symbolism over substance. This seems to be a reoccurring theme tonight. And what we've been recognizing in a lot of the problems is that there's a lot of, at face value, they want to paint a particular picture, but then there's nothing behind it. Or they're avoiding the substance and trying to construe a particular symbolic nature to make the substance of it disappear. That's what the mainstream media does great, is they try to distract us in certain ways or get us angry about something really small, like the entire debate. And you have all of these people coming out and saying, well, I'm going to my black job now, because they want to focus in on the micro. They want to focus in on that one line that Trump said,
right,
that was taken out of context.
Yeah.
Instead of talking about the obvious, like, you guys, Joe Biden wasn't even really there. He was staring off into space half the time. He could barely make a sentence. There were particular times where, I mean, he literally made no sense in what he was addressing. It was like he was just speaking and he wasn't actually making sense. So instead of talking about that, they're going to draw this out. And so what the narrative that they want to paint from that debate is that Trump is racist, talking about black jobs instead of the actual substance of it.
Yeah. Well, let me say something. When you played that clip, something stood out and it caught my ears very heavy. The lady stated that we were the only news network here to see these two guys go to jail. The mainstream media didn't show up to capture those two guys being arrested who murdered that young 12-year-old girl. Now, if that doesn't tell you that the mainstream media hates the American people, that should tell you that they hate us. And they need to be held liable as well. I've been really considering some things. I've been looking into some statutes. I'm telling you, when I get to Congress, I have to go to work and I have to work with a lot of my constituents. And we've got to come up with something that stops the media from having this type of protection from pushing lies, propaganda, and not covering the real news. And as far as the black jobs, and as far as the black jobs go, black jobs are used to pay for black bills, to feed black children, and to make sure that black folks are contributing to the economy. That's a black job, stupid clowns. That's a black job. A black job is a job mostly of labor. And those jobs are easy to get when you have people coming across that border and they take that job, and the owners of the businesses would rather pay $5 per hour instead of $15 per hour. And that takes away black food out of a black house where they can pay their black bills and pay for their black gas and so on and so forth. All these little word games with these stupid media people are just ridiculous. And I agree with you. They'll find something to deflect from the real deal.
I would start looking at the media. And, people always ask, who should Trump investigate when he gets in? My answer is the same every time and always has been: the media. I want to know who's giving Anderson Cooper money. I want to know who's paying Joy Reid on the side. I want to know who's talking to Keith Olbermann. I want to know where these people are getting, because they're irresponsibly reporting the news, and they put people in danger by doing it. They put American people in danger by doing it. They're irresponsible. I mean, look, James O'Keefe caught him on camera, didn't he? James O'Keefe sat with CNN, the technical producer of CNN, and caught them on camera saying, we know the Russia stuff was a hoax. We know it was a lie, but it was good ratings. And we did not want to see Trump win the election. Now, when it was so big, Russia on CNN, why were they saying Russia? Because they said Russia was interfering with the election. Meantime, they're reporting falsehoods, knowing that they were trying to literally interfere with the election.
Well, here's the deal. President Donald Trump needs to start filing lawsuits against them. that young Indian, that young boy gets that in that native case. He won that like $1 billion case for them lying on him, saying that he attacked the natives I think it was in DC somewhere. Well, he ended up winning that case.
Oh, the one where the guy
Nicholas
Salmon. He came up with the drum and he was beating the drum in front of the guy.
Yep.
They lied so heavily on that, it was crazy. And so when they come out and if they come out and openly admit that they lied on President Donald Trump, he's got the money. I'll have an attorney draw up a lawsuit overnight and drop it on him so quick. And that will make them, second think some of all these attacks that they're hitting them with.
But here's what happened. When he put that out on Project Veritas, you would think that would trigger a lawsuit. You would think that would trigger some anti-CNN sentiment. But what it did was it triggered the FBI to raid the guy who made the tape.
Listen, man, don't get me started on the FBI. God Almighty, I'm going to defund them. I'm going to vote to defund the FBI. They just tell me one good thing they've done for the country. Tell me one.
They overstepped their bounds. That's all I know. All I know is, listen, I've talked to Kyle Seraphin, Nate Kane, who hosts his own show here, Raising Kane. You've been on his show. All these people that are previous federal agents all want to see the agency removed, done, gone away. They all want. Why is it that all these people that used to work for it all want it to go away?
I agree. I agree. I mean, they're no good. Listen. Okay, so here's the deal. January 6th, they played a role in that. Gretchen Whitmer's kidnapping, they played a role in that. And they actually set up a false narrative against Americans, and those Americans still went to prison.
Yeah.
When President Donald Trump gets in, they went to jail.
They still use that case against Trump supporters, painting this broad white supremacy narrative across the country. Right. They still bring that up.
Yes. And then don't forget those several big school shootings, and during one of them, the Texas shooting, that's when I dropped my rifles at Make Rifles Great Again. So check this out.
They should have been so embarrassed about that because the mom did the job the cops wouldn't do. That mom broke her handcuffs, climbed out of the window of the cop car, went into the school and rescued the kids. Meanwhile, the police was still standing back by the car. Man, I want to talk to that mom.
Yeah, so she did a great job. She was phenomenal. But that's what a mom does. But listen, all of that stuff could have been forwarded, right? Because the FBI knew about it. They knew about the gun. They knew about the mental problems. They knew of the persons writing these whatever they're writing these letters stating that they wanted to kill the people. They knew about the purchases days before they did the shooting, but they didn't stop it. They didn't stop it. What good are they doing for this country? And why should we, taxpayers, fund the FBI? It's something that was newly began probably, I think, since the 1970s. It's not really it's not been around that long. And I don't even think it's necessary. I think we need to rely on the U.S. Marshals and stop these people, because really they're just an extension of the Democrat Party, straight up, all the way.
Yeah,
that's what they've become.
Yep.
Yeah.
Sure enough. And then I saw Woody in the comments just brought up Cloward and Pivens. Now, for those of you listening that don't know what that is that there are two college professors that came up with a way to overthrow the United States and make it fall from within by unchecked immigration and overloading the welfare system. It is, and there's actually what they're employing right now. Right now, did you know that was also a part of the Muslim, that's a part of the Muslim plan for the entire world? Do you know that that's what they're doing in Europe? They're bankrupting Europe. Okay, so think about it. So they say that Hispanics come over here and they help us with the jobs that we don't want to work, which is racist. It's a racist statement. Also, but just consider this. When Muslims go into countries like ours, are they known for working? Are they known for work? They're not. No.
They go into these countries, they have 4 to 5 children, and they repopulate it with their faith. They start taking over the political scenes.
Right, and then they force jizya
drain the
on people.
system.
They
drain the system.
They implement their game is to get their numbers up in any city, state, whatever. When their numbers get up to a certain point, they run for office. Then they initiate Sharia law. And then if you're not a Muslim, if you live in their quarters where Sharia law is, you have to pay this thing called jizya. And jizya is a tax levied on everyone who is a non-Muslim. So if you're a Christian and you live in their quarters, right now, it's happening right now in Ireland and the UK.
It's happening, but it's happening in Dearborn, Michigan.
It's crazy. Well, they changed their flag.
I want everybody to look up Dearborn, Michigan. You go there and it looks like you're in the Middle East. The buildings have those funny shaped things at the top of them. They have the lettering all over the whole street. The whole town is taken over. And listen, we love people. People have the freedom of religion and all that kind of stuff. But if somebody come into this country and they're running for a political office and they can't swear in on the Bible that our Constitution was there for, our Constitution was sprung out of the Bible, then why should we trust them to run and hold a political office?
Well, I will say that that's another lie that is being taught in schools and pushed by the mainstream media and teachers alike, is that the United States isn't a Christian country or Judeo-Christian in its nature and its founding, even though the founding fathers were heavily inspired by everything that they wrote by the Bible.
Yep.
And
everything
every value integrated into our Constitution and everything that made this country great was inspired by the biblical teachings that they were well versed on.
Right. It says that these powers these freedoms and rights were given to us by our Creator. And where did we get the Creator from? Where did we get this term from? We got it from the Bible.
Right.
So we talked about these inalienable rights were given to us by God, the Creator. So then it goes from the preamble talking about the Creator, and then it goes into the amendments and the Constitution. So it was laying out the groundwork that all of these things is based on the fact that the Creator gave us these freedoms, and it's going to be the government's job to uphold the freedoms that we got from our Creator. And so these people that say that it's not based on the Bible, well, you know what? Find yourself a country that don't believe in the Bible. You know, I hate to say that to people. I mean, but this is a free country. You're free to worship and have any religion you want. But if we want to go back to the founders' initial sentiments and reasons why they did the Constitution, they did it based on the Bible.
And what separated us from all of human history before it?
Yeah, our Constitution, our rights.
Yep. That changed the course of history. And that's actually what made that's what helped create the world we live in today. Now, granted, it's become corrupted in many ways and adopted and hijacked would probably be a better word. But the reason that we enjoy rights like we do today, the reason that you and I can walk down the street as equals in this country is because of the vision of the founding fathers had, inspired by all their biblical learnings.
Silver Bell just did it to you as well. I just got a confirmation. Jerome for Congress. Silver Bell just went ahead and donated to you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, brother. Silver Bell. Thank you, Silver Bell. Now, in the Bible, that silver represented redemption. It is a medal of redemption. And so when Judas betrayed Jesus, he betrayed him for silver. In order for Jesus to go to the cross and die and redeem us, he had to be betrayed. And so that's what that 30 pieces of silver was the price of our redemption. And so thank you, Silver Bells.
So we, we love you. And one of the things I told Maurice before, I said, you know what, this man is so busy. He's running for office. He's got a lot going on, but every time I call, he picks the phone up. I don't give a damn. If I need an opinion on something, I call, you pick the phone up. And I really do appreciate that. But let's get back to this Islam thing right now. I'm going to say a couple more things to close it out. You guys can comment. But everybody is so afraid to be taken out of context. Yes, we are a freedom of religion country, right? But the thing is when you see what this religion does, go to any of the countries where this is in place. and see how many rights women have. See how much pedophilia is practiced. That's the part of it no one wants to talk about. Like,
nobody wants to talk about that.
I've been on interviews before with people. I won't say their names but people we've had on the show, they literally has said, don't talk about that because they're Islam and I don't want you to get in trouble with and like, oh man, listen, if it's true, I'm going to say it. Muhammad married and slept with a 9-year-old. And in these countries right now today, I can show you videos of 10, 11, 12-year-olds being snatched out of their moms and dads' arms by a 40 and 50-year-old man that he's going to marry. That kid to marry. Oh, that's nuts. It is sick. And this happens in their culture.
Yes.
It happens. Islam stands for what? Submission.
Mm-hmm.
Submission. It's not a religion of peace. It is a religion of convert or else.
Yes.
I
totally agree. I totally agree. And if you want your women to come over, and if you want your women to be beaten, and you want the gay people who have all of these gay rights, if they want to live, well, they will throw you off of a building. That's their punishment for you being gay. But here's my grandmother had a piece of.
I watched the Al Jazeera. I don't know if anyone's ever watched Al Jazeera. It's Middle Eastern news. There was an imam on there. Imam is equivalent to a pastor, preacher, priest, whatever. The imam was given instructions on how to beat your wife. And he said, you beat her on the fat tissue of her behind. You beat her on the bottoms of her feet. But he says you never do it with a closed fist, always with an open hand, and all these instructions on how to beat women properly. This is what they preach. This is what they teach.
That's crazy.
Come on, it's nuts.
But you know what I was thinking about when I saw these students doing that Free Palestine and all that kind of stuff. I was thinking about how, they have no idea. They have no idea what those people really believe. It is that George Soros was just paying them to get out there, $1,200 each or whatever, and just get out there and just make a riot and make a fuss at these schools, right? You have no idea what this stuff means. And if you LGBT rights and the Palestinian flag combined together, come on, what a joke.
Yeah. Right.
What a joke. Mm-hmm. It's all political. The Democrats make a political movement out of everything to take away the rights of the people. You make the LGBT movement to take away the rights. You come with the Palestine movement and to take away the rights. And they're telling Israel that they can't retaliate and protect themselves. It's just insanity. Insane.
Yeah. What is it? Queers for Palestine is equivalent to Satan getting baptized. It is equivalent to Satan getting baptized.
That's so funny. That is so funny, man. That's funny. Because I'll tell you what, why don't y'all take a field trip over there? And then y'all go and have an open kiss in front of all of them.
They would not come back. They'd be on one of them videos.
That's the truth,
reading the letter with the dude with the hood on behind them. They is treating us good.
Right. Yeah.
Never coming home, never again. Yeah.
So to all you guys watching this, please go to JeroneForCongress.com. It's up on the screen right now, bottom left-hand side, JeroneForCongress.com. Donate to his campaign if you can. This is how we win back the country. This is how we take back the country. It's little by little. It's supporting patriots. It's giving your attention and your time to the people who are actively making a difference in the country and who have a vision for a better future, as opposed to the rhinos who have been sitting back and watching our country fall apart and participating in the corruption. We need to change that. We need to start taking back from the uniparty, from the complacent Republicans, from the Democrats that are backed by the likes of George Soros and World Economic Forum. I mean, there's literally people that want to bring this country to its knees. We cannot have that. We have to change. And all he's asking for is a donation that is equivalent to a Starbucks coffee. Instead of supporting that woke BS corporation, support Jerone Davison instead. Please. And then if you can, share this podcast with your friends. Jerone, do you have anything to close out tonight with?
Well, I just want to tell the people that I was at January 6th, and I wasn't even running for any office. That was a couple of years before I decided to run. I just want to tell you that because I want you to see the type of person that I am. That's who I am. I know that they stole the elections, and I went there to see and to look deeper into it and maybe hear some way that we were going to save our country. My opponents in this race, I never saw them at any of the election integrity rallies. I never saw them at any Trump rallies. And so if you want to put people in office, put the people in office who show that they are true fighters and that they're going to protect President Donald Trump's back when he gets in. Remember, when Trump was in office, he had the House and the Senate, but he couldn't get funding to build a wall because the Republicans was resisting him. And if we don't do our vetting, and if we don't support people like me, what can I do? You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to accept the will of the people. If they don't vote for me, then I'll be supporting somebody else. But hopefully, you know, we have our country, and we have to take these moments very seriously. So go to JeroneForCongress.com, support me, pray for me, and share my information. Thank you, Eddie and Maurice, for having me on.
And we look forward to spending some time with you in Idaho, brother. Red Pill Palooza. Red Pill Palooza. There it is. So, guys, as usual, the silent majority, you need to stop being silent and stand your ground. We'll see you guys next time on the Patriots Prayer. You guys have a great one.
My people of this country, and we're under attack. They banning us, they cancel us for speaking the facts. If you man enough, come stand with us, take USA back. And every time we pull up, all you're gonna see is America.